Hi friends, this is Bakapa. Welcome to Playwright Full Course. In this chapter 1 of Playwright Full Course, so we will see how to get started with Playwright. So we will be seeing very first topic, that is the Playwright. What is Playwright and what are the advantages of using Playwright and limitations of Playwright and how exactly Playwright works. So we will see the Playwright architecture and then we will see what is the difference between Playwright and Cypress, Playwright and Selenium WebDriver, and what are the softwares you need to install to work with the Playwright. So basically you need to install the Visual Studio Code and also you need to install the nodejs in your system. And then we will see how to install Playwright using the Visual Studio Code, and also we will see the Playwright folder structure, and then we will see about the test explorer where you can see number of spec file and how you can run the specific spec file and how to run the specific test on the different browsers like Google Chrome browser, Microsoft Edge browser, and WebKit browser, and also Firefox browser. And then we will see how to record a test in VS Code using the Playwright, and also we will see how to generate the Playwright HTML test report, and we will see what is recorded cursor in Playwright. And next we are going to discuss what are the commonly used terminologies in the Playwright automation testing tool, and then we will see how to write first Playwright automation test. Then we will see what is spec locator in Playwright, and next we are going to discuss about how to install Playwright using the command prompt and how to run Playwright test in headless mode or headed mode using the terminal or the command prompt. And then we will see how to run the specific spec file in the Playwright. And then we are going to see how to run Playwright test on the different browsers. And then finally, we are going to see how to use codegen to record the Playwright automation test. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see what is Playwright, what are the advantages of using Playwright, and of course, we will see the limitations of using the Playwright automation tool. So let's understand the first, what is Playwright? Playwright is an open source automation testing tool which is used to perform the end-to-end testing of modern web applications, mobile applications in the headed mode or the headless mode. So let's look at the what are the advantages of using the Playwright automation tool. The first one is cross-browser testing. You can run Playwright automation test in the different browsers such as Chrome browser, Edge browser, Chromium, and also you can run your test in the Firefox and WebKit browsers. And second advantages of using the Playwright automation tool is it supports for the cross-platform testing. So you can run your automation test in the different operating systems such as Windows, Linux, and also you can run your test in the Mac operating system. Next one is cross programming languages support. So you can write the automation test in the different programming languages such as JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, .NET, and also you can write your automation test in the Java programming language, which is very popular. And next advantage of using the Playwright automation tool is you can run your automation test in the web browser, and also you can run your automation test in the mobile emulation of the Google Chrome for Android, and also you can run your mobile automation test in the mobile Safari also. And next one is auto wait. So whenever we are performing any action on the web element, so there is a auto wait mechanism is present in the Playwright automation tool. So by using that, so you will be seeing the very less flaky test. And next one is tracing. In this tracing, basically whenever test got executed, which has 10 steps, so you can see in each step what happened, and also you will get the network details also. What is the call it has made and what is the response it got. You can see each and every details in each of the steps by using the tracing or trace viewer also. So these are the same thing. And it has the inbuilt reporting mechanism by using the reporting mechanism where you can see the number of tests got executed and how many are passed and how many are failed, and also you can see how many tests are skipped also. And next advantage of using the Playwright automation tool is dynamic weight assertions, where you can say, for example, you have asserted something or you are trying to validate something in the web element, sorry, in the web page. So already weight is present. So you can basically modify this particular weight and you can increase or decrease it. So it has the inbuilt default wait time, that's a polling time. So it basically checks that particular element is present or not. Basically whenever element is present, basically it will perform the assert operation. And next one is it's a faster and reliable. So definitely, so Playwright is very faster than the Selenium, and also you can compare to the Cypress also. So Playwright has the many features compared to Selenium and Cypress, and also it is very faster and it's very reliable. For example, if I am running a one particular test 10 times, it will gives you the same result. So that is the best thing about the Playwright automation tool. And next advantage is powerful tooling. Because of these features, first one is codegen. By using codegen, you can generate the automation code. Basically it is a recording the test. And second feature is Playwright inspector. So by using this Playwright inspector, you can basically identify the element. By using that element locator, you can basically perform any action on that particular element or the locator. And third point is why we are saying this particular Playwright tool is a powerful tool, right? So third one is trace viewer. So basically in this case, you can track each and every details. Whenever test is got executed, you can see what is happened in each of the steps by seeing the network details. And also basically you can perform any action, or basically you can identify the element by using the inspector. So when you are viewing the trace viewer details. And last advantage is no flaky test. So because of auto weight and dynamic weight assertions, so these are the two automatic weight mechanisms are present in the Playwright automation tool. So that's the reason you will not see the flaky test in the Playwright automation test while writing it. And let's look at the limitations of using the Playwright automation tool. The first one is, so Playwright has the less community support compared to the Selenium webdriver because it is came into the market very recently. So Selenium is present in the market from long time. So that's the reason you will see the less community support for the Playwright. And second limitation of using the Playwright automation tool is it does not support for the legacy browsers such as i11 browser. So that's a Internet Explorer 11 version browser. And the third limitation is it is not possible to test your mobile apps in the real, sorry guys, in the real device. So that's the third disadvantage of using the Playwright automation tool. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see Playwright architecture. How exactly Playwright works when you write your test, when you trigger the Playwright automation test. So basically you will see the three components over here and two protocols are being used in the Playwright architecture. So let's look at the components first. The first one is client component where we are writing the Playwright automation test by using the JavaScript, Java, Python, C# and many other programming languages. And second component is that is the Playwright server. And third component is browser engines. It can be the Chrome, Firefox, WebKit and other browsers also. So as I said, we are using the, as I said, so Playwright is using the two protocols. The first one is WebSocket protocol and the second one is Playwright is using the another protocol called CDP. that is nothing but the Chrome DevTools protocol. So very first protocol is being used between the client and the Playwright server. That is the WebSocket protocol. And the second protocol is being used between the Playwright server and the browser engines. So that is comes over here. So let's look at how exactly this Playwright architecture works here. So what is the workflow of the Playwright architecture? So let's understand one by one components. So in the client, we are writing the Playwright automation code in the different programming languages such as JavaScript, Python, C Sharp, and etc. etc. And coming to the second component, that is a server. So where we are actually it is communicating between the client and the web browser engines. So it can be the Chrome, Firefox, and Edge browsers. So these are the browser engines. So basically, this particular Playwright server is communicating between the our code, that is the client, and the web browser engines. And if you look at this particular line, so Playwright uses the CDP to communicate between the different browsers. To communicate with the Chromium or the Chrome browser, so it is using the inbuilt protocol, that is the Chrome DevTools protocol. So to communicate with the Chrome browser or a Chromium, so Playwright is using the CDP protocol. To communicate with the other browsers such as Firefox, WebKit, so it has implemented the O1 CDP protocol. Similar to the CDP, it has implemented the another protocol to communicate with the other browsers. It can be the Firefox, WebKit, and other browsers also. And let's look at the next point, that is the WebSocket protocol. So basically, it is WebSocket is connection is established to the server from the client. If you look at this particular diagram, so client will establish the WebSocket connection to the Playwright server, where once the connection is established by using the process called WebSocket handshake. So WebSocket sends the response as soon as it gets the real-time request. For example, whenever client has sent the request to the Playwright server through this particular protocol, immediately it will respond to the client. And all the communication happens between the client and the Playwright server over the only single connection. That's all about it. And as usual, we are using the CDP to communicate between the Playwright server and the web browser engines. And let's look at the last point, that is the how exactly communication happens between the client, Playwright server, and as well as the web browser engines. So firstly, whenever we trigger the automation test execution, what happens? It will convert client will convert your automation code into the JSON format and sends to the server over the WebSocket protocol. So as I said, so basically client will convert your automation test code into the JSON format, and it will create the connection to the server by using the WebSocket protocol connection, and it will pass the JSON format data to the Playwright server. And once the server received the JSON format data, so basically it will respond back to the client by communicating to the web browser engines. And Playwright communicates all the requests over a single WebSocket protocol connection. So let's say you have triggered 10 automation tests for the execution. So all the 10 test execution will happen over the only single WebSocket protocol connection only. So it will never close the connection after executing each of the test. So all the test execution will happen over the single protocol connection, that is the WebSocket protocol connection. And if you look at the very last point, test failure and test flakiness is very less, as because all the test will be getting executed over the single WebSocket protocol connection. So this particular connection will be never terminated until unless it is terminated by the client or the server. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see what is the difference between Playwright and Cypress automation tool. So let's look at the very first feature, that is a programming language support. In case of Playwright, so it supports for JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Python, and C#.NET. But in case of Cypress automation tool, so it supports for only JavaScript programming language. So the second point is browser support. In case of Playwright, it supports for multiple browsers, and also it supports for the mobile emulation for the Chrome and as well as the Safari. But in case of Cypress automation tool, so it supports for only four browsers. One is Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and Electron browser. And the third difference between Playwright automation tool and Cypress automation tool is framework. So in case of Playwright, so it supports for Mocha, Gist, and Jasmine. But in case of Cypress, Cypress supports for the only Mocha framework. The fourth difference is operating system. In case of Playwright, so we can use Windows, Linux, and Mac. But in case of Cypress, it supports for the Windows, Linux, and also it supports for the Mac, but it supports for only the 10.9 and above versions only. And the next difference is open source. So Playwright is completely open source automation testing tool, but Cypress is few features are not available in the open source Cypress automation tool. So few features if you want it, so you need to buy the whole Cypress tool. And the next feature is support. So Playwright is a new automation testing tool. So that's the reason you will find the bit less community support. But Cypress, coming to the Cypress side, so it has a bit strong community support because it is in the market from a few years ago. So that's the reason. So you will find the more support from the community side whenever you stuck in the any project or with any issues. So many people will be able to guide you. And the seventh difference between the Playwright and Cypress is, so in case of Playwright, so it does not support for the testing the mobile app in the real devices. But in case of Cypress, so you can test the mobile app in the real devices by connecting to the cloud. And the eighth difference between Playwright and Cypress is reporting. In case of Playwright, you can generate the report directly within few seconds, but in case of Cypress, it is not possible. So you need to install the third-party plugins, and then you can generate the reports for the automation test execution. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see what is the difference between Playwright automation tool and Selenium WebDriver. So let's look at the first difference, programming language support. In case of Playwright automation tool, so it supports for the JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Python, and C#.NET. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, so it will support additionally, so it will support all the programming language which supports for the Playwright. Additional to that, so it supports for the Ruby, Perl, and PHP programming language. And the second difference is browser support. In case of Playwright, it supports for the Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Chromium, mobile Chrome, and also it supports for the mobile Safari. And additionally, it will support for the WebKit browser. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, so it does not support for the WebKit browser. So Selenium WebDriver supports for the Chrome browser, Edge browser, Firefox browser, Safari browser, and Opera browser. So Selenium WebDriver does not support for the WebKit browser. And the third difference is framework. In case of Playwright, so it supports for the Gist, Jasmine, Ava, Mocha, and VTest. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, it supports for multiple frameworks such as Jasmine, Mocha, WebDriver IO, TestNG, JUnit, and NUnit also. And coming to the fourth difference between the Playwright and Selenium WebDriver is operating system support. In case of Playwright, it supports for the Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, it supports all the three operating system plus additionally it supports for the Solaris. And the fifth difference is open source. Yeah, in case of Playwright, so it is a completely open source automation tool which is developed by the Microsoft. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, so Selenium WebDriver is also the completely open source framework, sorry, open source API, which is developed by the community. And the sixth difference is support. So Playwright has the less community support because it is a new tool. So very recently came into the market. So rapidly it is growing its community. But coming to the Selenium WebDriver, so it has a very large community support and also very well documentation. And the seventh difference between the Playwright and Selenium WebDriver is mobile app testing. In case of Playwright, it is possible, but in case of Selenium WebDriver, it is not possible. So it is possible in the Selenium WebDriver also, but we have to use the third-party tool called APM. By using that, we can perform the mobile app testing. Coming to the next difference, that is the speed. So Playwright automation tool is very faster than compared to the Selenium WebDriver. So Selenium WebDriver is very slow compared to the Playwright automation tool. And next difference is reporting. So Playwright by default it provides the reporting mechanism, but Selenium does not provide the reporting mechanism. We have to use the third-party tool called testng, extend report, or allure report, like that. And the 10th difference between Playwright and Selenium WebDriver is auto wait. In case of Playwright automation tool, automatic wait is available whenever we are trying to identify any web element. Auto wait is there. Automatically it will poll the element and it will check whether it is available or not. If it is available, it will perform the action on that particular web element. So that mechanism is there in the Playwright. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, we have to write the custom code to check the element. And the 11th difference between Playwright automation tool and the Selenium WebDriver is architecture. In case of Playwright, headless browser with the event-driven architecture. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, it is a 4-layer architecture. So the first one is we have the Selenium client library, and second one is JSON wire protocol, and third one is browser drivers, and fourth one is browsers. So it is a 4-layer protocol. And the next difference is prerequisites. In case of Playwright, so you need to install the nodejs, but in case of Selenium WebDriver, if you want to write the Selenium automation test, you need to have the API and drivers to perform the action on the web application. So this is all about the difference between the Playwright automation tool and the Selenium WebDriver. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see what are the software requirement for the Playwright full course. So basically you need to install the Node.js first, then you can install the Visual Studio Code, and we will be using the JavaScript for writing the Playwright automation test. And anyway, you will be having the operating system. It can be Windows operating system, Mac, or Linux. So in the next tutorial, I will be showing you how to install Node.js and Visual Studio Code, and also how to verify whether these two softwares are installed or not in your system. That we are going to see in the next Playwright tutorial. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see firstly how to install the Node.js. You can go to the google.com and here search with download Node.js. And here you can go to the official link of Node.js. And based on the operating system, you will be finding the Node.js software here. So firstly, it is listing the Windows, Mac OS, and then Linux. And based on your number of bits of operating system, you can click on that respective link, and that will downloads you the Node.js software. In my case, mine is Windows. So here I have downloaded the .msi 64-bit because my system is 64-bit. And once I click on this one, it will start downloading the software. So simply I will give the one of the location, and that's it. Here I'll say save, and simply I will pass this particular download as well, because in my case I have already downloaded it. And once the download is completed, so you will find the nodejs software like this. So in my case I have downloaded little bit long back, and once you download it, simply double click on this particular .exe file, that is a nodejs exe file. The installation is very simple. So you have seen how to download the nodejs software in your system. And once you are having the nodejs software in your system, simply double click on that particular software, and the first window will open like this. Click on next and select this checkbox, that is I accept the terms in the license agreement, and click on next and click on next. Installation is very simple, guys. You can click on the next button once again, and here also you need to click on next. And after clicking on the install button, it will take few seconds to install the software in your system, and then finally you can click on the finish button. And once the installation is completed, simply you can go to the command prompt in your system, and simply, so let me open the command prompt over here. And once the node.js is installed in your system, simply type node space -v. And if node.js is installed properly in your system, and automatically it will return to the version of the node.js. So this is how you can download and install the node.js. Now let's see how to install the Visual Studio Code. You can go to the google.com and here search with download VS Code. So VS is nothing but Visual Studio Code. And here you can go to the very first link, that is the official website of the Visual Studio Code. And here, based on your operating system, you will be finding the VS Code software. So in my case, it is a Windows. I have clicked on this particular Windows. And if your system is Mac, you can click on this Mac. And if your system is Red Hat or Fedora or Ubuntu, you can click on the respective links. So in my case, as I said, it is a Windows. I have clicked on this particular Windows, and then I got this particular .exe file. And simply double click on this particular software. Installation is very simple. Simply you need to click on the next and finish it. Once the installation is finished, simply in the start type Visual Studio Code. So in my case it is already installed, so simply I am selecting the Visual Studio Code. So it will open the window like this, and if it is Visual Studio Code is successfully installed. So in my case I have already opened one of the folder like this from the file. That's it, guys. So this is how you can download and install the VS Code in your system. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to install Playwright using Visual Studio Code. So there are very easy and simple 3 steps which you need to follow. The first one is step 1. You need to install one extension called Playwright Test for VS Code. And step 2 is then you need to press Ctrl Shift P, and then you need to enter install Playwright. Then finally in the step 3, you need to select the Playwright configurations, and then you need to click on OK button, and you need to wait for a couple of seconds to complete the Playwright installation in your system. So let's navigate to the VS Code and let's see how to install Playwright in VS Code. So here you need to create a one new folder, that is an empty folder. In my case, I have already created Playwright tutorial full course empty folder. If you look at here, so this folder is empty. So I'm going to open this particular folder from the VS Code. You can go to the file and here select open folder, and select the newly created folder. That's it. So let's install the extension first. So you can go to the very last icon, that is extensions. You can click on that icon and here you type Playwright test for VS Code. And if you see here, so this is the extension. And if you look at the developed by, so it is, so this particular plugin is developed by the Microsoft. So simply click on the install button. So it is already installed now. And if you see here, you are getting the uninstall button. That means, so this extension is installed in your system. And you can go back to the Explorer. And here, now you need to press the Control Shift plus P. So here you need to type install Playwright. So in my case, I have already I have tried installing it. So that's the reason you can see the very first option, and also you can see the recently used command. So simply you need to type the install Playwright and then select the install Playwright. And after that, here you need to select the Playwright configurations. So here I'm selecting all the browsers, Chromium, Firefox, WebKit. So we are using JavaScript for the automation code. So that's the reason here I'm checking this particular checkbox. If you are using TypeScript, by default, it will take the TypeScript as the configuration. And here I'm removing the add GitHub actions workflow. As of now, it is not required. So that's the reason I'm removing it. And then you can click on the OK button. That's it, guys. So if you look at here in this terminal, so it is started installing all the required Playwright libraries and plugins. And also slowly it will start even downloading the all the browser exe file also. So if you look at on the left side, package.json file created, and also node underscore models also created, package-log.json file also created, and also you can see the tests folder, tests-examples folder. So if you see here, it has installed the Playwright in your system. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see default Playwright folder structure. So let's navigate to the VS Code. So this particular installation we have done in the previous Playwright tutorial. So let's look at the all the folders, and at high level we will see what exactly it contains. So firstly we have the node underscore models. So this particular folder, it contains all the JS file, that is a JavaScript file, and also it contains all the plugins which are required to run the JavaScript code and as well as the Playwright automation test. Coming to the second folder, that is tests. So if you look at the example.spec.js file, so it contains very basic two test cases. So if you look at the sample test, so here they are navigating to the URL and here they are validating something. They have provided the, that means Microsoft has provided the sample very basic two automation test. That's it. And if I come to the next folder, that is the tests-examples. So if I open this demo-to-do-app.spec.js file, so it contains multiple automation test cases. So by using this also, we can explore how to write the Playwright automation tests. So basically it is a kind of advanced level Playwright automation tests. By referring this, you can learn how to write the automation code at high level. And coming to the next file, that is the package.json file. So in this file, so it contains the all the dependency details. If you look at in the line number 10, so far it has installed the two plugins. One is Playwright test and another one is types node. And also you can see the respective version also. If I install any plugin, So automatically that will be added over here. So basically at high level, package.json file, it contains the dependency details. And the last file is playwright.config.json JS file, that is. So if you look at this particular file, so it contains the all the playwright configurations. Here you can specify where exactly your automation tests are present and whether you want to run the automation tests parallelly or not. You can also specify how many times you want to retry when test is getting failed, and also you can specify the whether you want to generate the report or not after the execution, and also you can specify the all the different types of browsers also. If you look at all this configuration, so at high level, if you think about the playwright.config file, so it contains the all the configurations which are required to run the test. Basically, for example, you have an automation test, you want to run it in the Chrome browser, so that configuration can be done here. And also you want to run your test in the headless mode, that configuration can be added or updated in the playwright.config.js file. So this is all about the default Playwright folder structure. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to run Playwright automation test in the Visual Studio Code, and also I'm going to discuss about Test Explorer, where you can run your automation test in the different browsers, and also you can filter the automation tests, and also we can run or debug the Playwright automation tests. So let's see how to run the Playwright automation test first, and then we will move on to the Test Explorer. So here I'm navigating to the VS Code. So as I said earlier, all our automation tests are present under the tests folder. So here I'm opening the example.spec.js file. And if you see here, so currently it has two test cases. That is a line number 4 and line number 11. And on the left side, you can see the one icon. Simply you can right click on that particular icon and you can see the multiple options here. You can run the test and also you can debug this particular test here. As of now, so let's run the test. Directly you can click on this particular icon. It will run the Playwright automation test, or you can right click on this icon and select the option as run test. So currently this particular test is running in the Chromium browser, and also our test is getting passed, right? So let me run the second test also. Simply I'm clicking on that particular run icon, and also here you can see that browser name, and also here you can see the status of the automation test execution. So this is how you can run the any Playwright automation test from the spec file. Now let's move on to the Test Explorer, where you can execute all the automation test at one go. On the left side, you can see the very last icon, that is the testing. Simply click on that particular testing, and here you will get the Test Explorer icon. And on the top side, you can see that the configurations. So default configuration is Chromium. If I want to run my test on the Firefox, simply I need to select the Firefox here. That's it, guys. So right now my Playwright automation tests are getting executed in the headless mode. And also let's add the one of the flag in the Playwright configuration. So if I add one flag, so that will run our Playwright automation test in the headed mode. So after the line number 29, in the line number 30, I'm adding one flag called headless : and here I'm adding the Boolean value as a false. That's it, guys. So let's make sure that our automation test is getting executed in the headed mode. So once again, I will go back to the example.spec file, and then we will move on to the Test Explorer once again. So let's run the test. So this time browser should open up. So if you look at this one, so browser is getting opened, and also our test is getting passed also. So let's try to run the second test also. So it has opened the Chromium browser and also our test is getting passed, right? So this is it, guys. Very simple flag. We have to add it in the playwright.config.js file. So that will run your automation test in the headed mode or headless mode. So right now I have added Boolean value as false. If I make it as a true, then it will run our automation test in the headless mode. So I want to run my all the automation tests in the headed mode only. So I will go back to the test explorer. So as I said, that is the very first configuration. So by default, our automation tests are getting executed in the Chromium. And if I select any of the other browsers, so it will get execute on the different browsers also. And also you can debug the test. So at the project level, and also if you see here, so we are getting only the tests folder. Under the tests, if that particular spec file is present, all the spec file will be coming inside the tests folder. So right now only one spec file we have. So that's the reason you can see the only one spec file. And this particular spec file has two automation tests, right? So you can execute this whole spec file by clicking on the run test icon. And also you can debug the spec file by clicking on the debug test icon. And also you can specifically, if you want to run a specific test, in those cases you can select that particular test and you can click on the run test. And also you can debug this particular test by clicking on the debug test. And also you can, in this test explorer, you can also filter the spec files and also the automation tests. If you click on this particular icon, so you can filter the automation test based on the failed tests and only executed tests. And also you can filter the playwright automation test in a active file manner also. And also you can write the fuzzy match. Based on that also, all the spec file and automation test will be listed over here. And based on that, you can trigger the automation test execution. So let's run this particular spec file. So if I click on this run test, so it is going to run these two tests in the parallel mode. Because if you look at this particular configuration file, playwright.config.js file, so let it finish the execution. Then we will go back to the playwright configuration file. So if you look at the result also, our two tests are getting executed. So here in this configuration file, in the line number 16, so by default flag is true. That's the reason our two tests are getting executed parallelly. So if I want to run my test sequentially, simply here you have to pass the flag as false. That's it, guys. So now it is reloading all the tests, and I will come back to the test explorer here. And once again, I will trigger the example.spec.js file. So I started the execution now. So right now it is executing the very first test case and then it started the second test case execution. That's it, guys. So this is all about how you can run the Playwright automation test and also how you can use the Playwright Test Explorer to maintain and manage the automation tests. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to run Playwright automation test on the branded browsers such as Chrome browser, Microsoft Edge browser. So let's navigate to the VS Code and let's understand how to run the Playwright automation test in the different browsers. So this is a test explorer. From here also you can run your automation test in the different browsers. So if you look at the test explorer, beside that there is the configuration. You can click on that arrow icon. Say for example, I want to run my automation test on the WebKit browser. So simply we need to select this particular WebKit. So it will start executing all the Playwright automation test on the WebKit browser. So if you look at the result, so our tests are working fine, right? So this is a one way, guys. Now I will go back to the Explorer, and the second way is you can open the playwright.config.js file, and here, so you need to comment the line number from line number 37 to the line number 50. That's it, guys. Now we will execute the all our Playwright automation test in the Edge browser firstly. So if you look at the line number 63, from 63 to 66, you can uncomment the line. That's it. So I will go back to the our tests folder. Inside the tests, we have the example.spec file. So currently we are having the only two tests. So let's try to run the one by one these two tests. So simply I will click on this icon. It will start executing the automation test on the Edge browser. So later we will see how to execute the Playwright automation test on the Chrome browser also. So if you look at this one, so it has opened the Edge browser and also it has executed our test. So let's run the second test also. And if you look at this test results, so previously it has executed the automation test on the Microsoft Edge browser. So let's trigger the second test also. So because of some reasons so that was disabled. So that's the reason previously it was not executed. So our test second is running and also you can see the test results also. Sorry guys. And it is executed on the Microsoft Edge browser. Now I will go back to the test explorer. From here also we can run the all the test. So here I'm going to trigger the our spec file for the test execution. So it should execute all our Playwright automation test on the Edge browser. You see here. So it is able to execute the all our automation test on the Microsoft Edge browser. So in the similar way, we can go back to the Explorer and also we can modify the code in the configurations. So far we have executed Playwright automation code on the Microsoft Edge browser. In a similar way, we can execute the Playwright automation test on the Google Chrome browser also. So here I'm uncommenting the line number 67 to the 70 line number. That's it, guys. So you can see the name as Google Chrome and that is the desktop Chrome. So now I will go back to the example.spec file. To load the configuration, it will take few seconds. And if I execute the very first test, and it should run on the Chrome browser. And if you see this particular browser also, so it is started executing the test on the Chrome browser. And also here you can see the test results. So you can run your both the test from the Explorer. So it has loaded the configurations. Now I will execute the spec file, which has the two automation test. So right now it is running the first test and then executing the second test also. And also you can look at the results also. So our two tests are getting executed on the Google Chrome browser. So this is how you can execute the Playwright automation test on the branded browsers like Edge browser and Google Chrome browser. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to record a Playwright automation test in Visual Studio Code. And later I will discuss about where exactly Playwright HTML test report will be generated. So let's discuss the manual scenario. Then we will record that manual scenario by using the Playwright codegen. So here I will open this particular URL, that is the github.com followed by the backup in, and then I will click on sign in link. Then I will click on the text box, that is the username text box. So let's enter something here, and I will come to the next text box, that is that password, and let us enter some data over here, and then we are going to click on the sign in button. And if you see here, so we have the error message displayed over here in the alert. So finally we will validate this particular error message by using the Playwright automation tool. So this is the whole end-to-end scenario what we are going to automate it by using the record and play feature by the Playwright automation tool. So let's navigate to the VS Code, and here you need to navigate to the testing, that is the test explorer. And if you see the down left side, so there are multiple features are listed by the Playwright, and simply you need to click on the record new. And if you see here, so Playwright codegen started running, and it brings up the browser basically. So here we have to enter the URL first. So let's copy the URL. So this is a browser opened by the Playwright. So here firstly I will enter the URL, and it opens up the GitHub page, and then we are going to click on the sign in link, and then we are entering the username. So let's enter some username over here. Then I will click on the password text box. So let's enter some data over there, and then we are going to click on the sign in button. And if you see here, so error message is displayed, and we have to verify this particular error message. So there are three ways we can validate this particular element or particular text displayed on the web page. So if you look at this particular grid, so that's a particular part of the UI. So it has multiple options over here. So if you look at the last three options, the very first option is assert visibility. So basically if I click on this particular assert visibility, so it validates the whether element is displayed or not. And the second feature is we can assert the text. Basically it validates whether particular text is present or not. And also the last feature is you can basically verify the specific value from the web element. So I want to verify this particular text which is displayed on the web page. So that's the reason I will select the assert text here. And once you click on this assert text, and you need to click on the text which you want to validate it. So once you click on that particular web element, and here it will open the one pop-up window, and simply you need to click on the accept button. That's it guys. And then simply you can close the browser. And if you see here in the Visual Studio Code, so already it has generated the all the code what we have performed actions in the web page. So let's navigate to the Explorer here. So by default, automatically it has created the test-1.spec.ts file. So you can rename this particular file. So in my case, I will give the file name as, so by default it will create the .ts file. So you can rename that into the .js as well. So here I'll say record test.spec.js. That's it guys. Then I will save it. So let me explain you the code as well. So in the line number 4, it is navigating to the URL. Then we are clicking on the sign in link. Then in the line number 6 and 7, firstly we are clicking on that particular username text box, and then we are entering this data. And next we are clicking on the password text box, and we are entering the data in the password field. And in the line number 10, we are clicking on the sign in button. And finally we are validating the whether that particular text is displayed on the sorry guys. So finally we are validating that particular text is displayed on the web page or not. So let's run the Playwright test. And if you see here, so it has launched the browser, and it basically is performing all the actions perfectly fine. And also you can see here, so our test is getting passed. And also over here also you can see that our test is getting passed, and also you can see the in which browser our test is getting executed, right? So now this time what I will do is, so now test is getting passed and it is able to validate the text which is displayed on the web page by using the to content text, right? So here I will enter the different text, so which is not matching with the web element text, right? So this time our test should get fail basically, right? So let's run the playwright automation test now, and this time it should get fail. So it has opened the browser, then it has to click on the sign in link, and then it will enter the username and password, then it will verify the displayed text, right? So if you look at here, so it is showing in the line number 11, so it is getting failed over here, so it is not able to match the actual value and expected value, right? So this is the expected result, and also our test is getting failed, and also here you can see that one test is failed, right? So this is how you can record a playwright automation test by using the codegen extension in the VS Code. Now let us see about the playwright HTML test report. So where exactly this report will be generated. You can navigate to the VS Code, and over here you can see that by default automatically one folder will be created whenever you run playwright automation test. The folder is playwright-report. Inside this you will find the index.html report. You can go to the location of this particular file, and where you can find the HTML report, simply open that report. And if you see here, so this is the total number of test cases, and this is a pass count, this is a fail count, and this is a flaky count and skipped count. So in our case only one test is there, and that is getting failed. So let's click on the failed one, and here you will see the test. So this is a spec file name, and this is a test case name. So simply you can click on the test case name, and here you can see the firstly test name and also spec name, spec file name, and also here you can see the in which browser this particular test got executed. And if you see here, so this is the expected value, but we are getting this particular value from the web page, right? So basically it is not matching the actual and expected value. So this particular test what we have created just now by using the record and play feature by the playwright tool, and also we have executed this particular test. And if you come down, so here it will list down all the steps that particular test contains, and also you can see that in which step so our test is got failed also. And also here you can see on the right side the number of seconds or minutes it has taken that particular step. So let's go to the VS Code now. So this time what I will do is, so here I will pass the correct value in the expected, right? This time our test should get passed. So it has opened the browser and it has to click on the link, and then it will pass all the data, and it will click on the sign in button. And also you can see here, so our test is getting passed now, and in the test results also you can see that our test is getting passed. So let's navigate to the report now. So you can refresh this particular page, that's the index.html, and here you can see that so our test is getting passed, and here you can click on the test, and you can see the all the steps which this particular test case has, and our test is getting passed also, right? So this is how you can record the playwright automation test, and also you can generate the playwright test report. In this playwright tutorial we are going to see record at cursor feature. So what does this means, right? Say for example we have the automation test already written, and you want to add some validation in between the test, and that code can be generated by using the playwright record at cursor feature. So let me go to the web page. This particular scenario what we have recorded in the previous playwright tutorial. So we navigated to this particular URL, and then we clicked on the sign in link, and here we have entered some data over here, and then we are clicking on the sign in button, right? So here if you want to perform some other actions, for example in our case what we are going to do is, so we will verify this particular button is displayed or not, and then we are going to click on this particular button. So visibility of this button, we haven't checked it, or we haven't written that particular set of code, right? So we will insert this particular visibility of this particular sign in button code in the already existing Playwright automation test, right? So let's navigate to the VS Code now. And here I will go to the file. So already just now I have tried it. So let me delete this particular file. So what I'm doing is simply I will copy the record test.spec.js file and I will paste it inside the tests folder. Then I will rename the file name as record at cursor test.spec.js. So that's it, guys. So if you look at this particular code also, automation test, in the line number 4, we are navigating to the URL. We are clicking on the link and we are entering the username and then password here in the line number 9. And after the line number 9, so directly we are clicking on the sign in button right here. If you look at the line number 10, so we are clicking on the sign in button directly. So what we are going to do is, by using the record at cursor feature, by using that feature, we are going to insert the code after the line number 9. So we will check the visibility of this sign in button. So in the real time project, you can insert a number. You might be having a scenarios where you want to add a specific scenario code, or where you want to generate set of codes also. So in my case, I'm generating only one line of code after the line number 9 here. So what you need to do is simply you can go to the testing grid, and here you can come down, and on the left side down you can see the multiple features over here, and you need to check the show browser checkbox, and you need to click on the record at cursor. And if you see here, so it will brings up the browser codegen, and here we have to enter the URL. So let's enter the URL. So before you enter the URL, what you need to do is simply you need to stop the recording. So you need to click on this particular record. So recording will be disabled, and here I'm entering the URL. So it is all about what does the record at cursor means is that inserting the set of lines or set of code generation will be done in between the automation test at a nutshell. So we navigated to this URL and click on sign in. So let's enter some data over here, and then that's it, guys. Now what you need to do is, again you can go back to the VS Code, and now once again click on the record at cursor. So I will open the same browser where we have navigated by using the GitHub page. And if you see here on the top side, so we got the set of features enabled by the Playwright. So I will go to the VS Code, and if you see here, so I will place my cursor after the line number 9 because we want to validate this particular sign in button is visible or not. So I want to insert the visibility of the element code after the line number 9. So that's the reason my cursor is here in the line number 10 now. Now I will come back to the browser, and here, so I will select the assert visibility option. Then we need to click on the element. So which element you want to check the visibility. So in our case, we want to verify the visibility of the sign in button. Click on sign in, and I will come back to the VS Code. And if you see here in the line number 10, the code is got generated. If you see here, so after the element at the end, you can see that to be visible. If it is visible, then only it is going to click on that particular sign in button, right? So this is it, guys. So you can generate n number of lines code by using the Playwright record at cursor feature. Then simply I will close the browser. That's it, guys. Now let's run this particular test. So I will go back to the record at cursor test.spec file, and here I will click on run test, and it should work fine as of now. because all the code is working fine in our case, because we do not have the code which is actually breaking the things. That's it, guys. If you look at here, so our test is getting passed. Here you can see that check mark, and also here also you can see that one test is passed. So let me close it once again, and also we can run it once again and see the test results. So results will be very stable because the functionality is working fine here, and also the web page is constant. And if you see the output over here, so our test is getting passed, right? Now what I will do is, so here I will pass the incorrect role data. For example, I will pass something else. And this time what it does is, in the line number 10, it is unable to identify the element. So this element is not visible over here. So let's say here, instead of sign in, I will pass the some other data, right? So sign in button will be not visible and our test will get fail. So let's see the output of the automation test. And if you see here, so our test is still running, and also you can see the, so our test is getting failed in the line number 10, right? It is not able to locate that particular element. So let me rerun it once again. So it has executed in the opened browser because we have checked the show browser option. So now I have closed the browser. Let's run it once again, and it will get failed in the line number 10 because element is not visible, then it will not click on the sign in button. So it has opened the URL and it is performed all the actions, and it will be not able to locate the particular element, that is a sign in button, right? So this is the expected failure, right? And this is how you can use the recorded cursor feature by the Playwright automation tool. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see very commonly used terminologies in Playwright automation test. So these are the 5 keywords which we will be using while writing the Playwright automation test. The very first one is required, second one is async keyword, third one is await, and fourth one is page, and the last one is expect. So let's look at each keyword, what exactly that does in the Playwright automation tool. So the very first one is required. So we will use the required to include the Playwright module in the current JavaScript file, or to use the Playwright module in the current JavaScript file. So that's the reason we are using the required keyword to include the Playwright module in the current JavaScript file. And the second and third keyword is async and await. So async is a function and await is a keyword, and that will be written inside the async function only. So we can write await keywords or await keywords with the expressions. So we can write 0 or more await expressions within the async function. And whenever each time async function is called, so it returns you the new promise value, which will be resolved with the value written by the async function, or it can be rejected with the exception. So basically it is a similar to the try and catch block, guys. So whenever async function is called, so it gets the promise value, or it can get the any exception, that is a rejected value at high level. So let's look at the another keyword, page. So it is a browser context object. By using this context object, we can open the any URL, and also we can interact with browser. So we can perform the actions on the web browser elements. And the last keyword is expect. So it is a library for JavaScript and TypeScript. So it is intended for using with the test runner called jest or the Playwright test. So basically we are using a expect keyword to write the better assertions for end-to-end testing and as well as the component testing. So assertions we are using to validate whether element is displayed or any web element contains the text value, or any web element contains the specific test. So those kind of validations can be written by using the expect keyword. So these are the very commonly used terminologies in the Playwright automation test. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to write first Playwright automation test, and also we are going to see pick locator in Playwright. So why we are using pick locator is to identify the web page element locator value. So by using that, we can write the Playwright automation test. So let's look at the manual scenario first, and then we will automate the manual scenario by using the Playwright automation testing tool. So here I will navigate to the first youtube.com, and then in the search text box, I will enter the Cypress by testers talk. Then I will click on the search icon, and then here we are going to click on the Cypress by testers talk playlist. So here we are going to validate this web page tab title. So if you see the tab title, so it is a video description followed by the hyphen and YouTube. So we will validate the title of this web page. Now let's navigate to the VS Code. So here let's create the quickly one JS file. So under the tests folder, I'm adding the one spec file, first test.spec.js. That's it, guys. So here let's list down all the steps what we are going to do it. The very first step is we need to include Playwright module, and then second step is we need to write a test. Then inside the test, so we are going to firstly navigate to the URL. So that's the reason here I'll write go to URL, and followed by that, so we need to search with keywords. So firstly we are navigating to the youtube.com, then we will search with the keywords, and after that we are going to click on the playlist. Click on playlist, and finally we are validating the title. That's it, guys. So these are the steps what we are going to implement automation code by using the Playwright automation tool. So let's include the Playwright model first. So here we have to write the required keyword, and inside this we need to pass the @test. So that's it. So we have to assign back to the constant variable. So that's the reason here I'm writing constant, and here we have to assign back to the object, and the very first variable name I'm giving is test, and followed by the expect. So we are using a test to create the test cases, and expect we are using to validate or to assert the web element or any text. So that's it, guys. So this is how you can include the Playwright model. And then so let's start implementing the test as well. So we have to use this particular test object. So here I'm using test. Followed by that, we have to add the test name. So here I'm adding the test name as validate YouTube title. That's it. And then here we have to use the another function called async. And here I will add the arrow function, and followed by this I will open and close the curly braces. So firstly I need to navigate to this particular URL, right? So simply I will put inside this test now. So firstly we need to navigate to the URL. So if I need to navigate to the URL, we have to use the page object. So that page object we can get it from the async method. So here we need to add the page. So by using this page object, we can interact with the browser. So let's use the page. And firstly, you need to use the keyword called await and followed by the page dot. To go to the URL, simply you need to say go to method, and inside this we can add the URL. So here we have to provide the URL now. So I will go to the browser and I will copy this particular URL and I will add it inside the go to function. That's it, guys. Now we need to identify this particular search text box by using the pick locator, right? Now what I will do is I will go to the testing here, and here if you see the one option called pick locator, click on pick locator, and here let's add the URL first. So it has opened a browser where you can navigate in the web page. So firstly we have to find the search text box. So simply you need to click on the search text box and you need to come back to the VS Code. If you see here, to accept this particular locator, simply you need to, if you want to copy this particular locator, you need to press the enter. To cancel, you need to press the escape. So I'm pressing the enter. So we have copied the locator now. So here I'm using the await keyword. So if you do not have any idea about the require, async, await, and expect, so if you do not know about these keywords, you can refer the previous tutorial of this Playwright full course. So here I'm using the page followed by dot, and simply I'll paste the locator value. And then, so firstly I will click on the search text box, and followed by that, once I clicked on the search text box, then I will enter the search keyword. So here I'll call to the one method called fill. So this will enters the data in the search text box. So here I'm writing Cypress by testers talk. That's it. So we are done with performing actions on the search text box. Now we have to click on this particular search icon as well, right? So here I will go to the VS Code again and I will click on pick locator. Then I will go back to the browser and simply I will select the web element and I will come back to the VS Code, and if you see here, so we got the element, simply press the enter. We have copied the locator now. So firstly I will check whether that particular search icon is displayed or not. So that's the reason I'm using the one keyword called expect. By using this, we can validate whether element is displayed or not, or whether element is enabled or not. So that's the reason here I'm adding the locator. So inside the expect, simply we are adding the locator here, and followed by that, we can call to the one function called to be enabled. That's it. So if element is enabled, then click on that particular search icon. So simply I will copy this whole line and then I will remove the expect. So expect keyword is used to assert the element or text from the web page. So here I'm simply calling the click method. So we are going to click on the search icon. That's it, guys. Now we need to click on once we click on the search icon, so we will get the search results. And once we got the search result here, so let's add the Cypress by testers talk. And once we click on the search icon, we will get the search results. And here we have to click on this particular playlist, right? So let's identify this playlist. So I will go to the VS Code and I will click on pick locator. So let's identify the playlist. And here I will copy the locator. And then I will use the await followed by page object dot. So here I will pass the locator. Then we have to perform the click operation. That's it. So we are clicking on the playlist. Once we click on the playlist, so before we click on the playlist, so let's wait for some time. So this wait is not required, guys. So simply for demo purpose, I'm writing it page dot. So wait for timeout. So here I'm putting an explicit wait as 5000 milliseconds. That means 5 seconds. Then once we click on the playlist, we have to validate the title. To validate the title, so we have to use the await keyword, and followed by that, we can use the page, sorry. So we can use the expect keyword because here we are validating the something from the web page. So that's the reason we have to use the expect keyword, and inside this we have to pass the page object. And if I call here one method called to have title. So here I'm calling one method called to have title. So this will get the title from the web page. So here we have to add the expected title, right? So as I said, so this particular web page title is combination of video description and followed by hyphen and YouTube. So simply I will copy this text. So right now we are adding the expected text in the automation test. And followed by this, we have the hyphen, and then followed by that, we have the YouTube. That's it, guys. So we are done with creating the end-to-end test. So let me summarize once again what we have done. Firstly, we have included Playwright module and we started writing the test. And followed by that, firstly, we are going to the URL and we are searching with the keywords. Then we are clicking on the playlist. And finally, we are validating the title of the web page. So now let's run the test. So here I'll click on run test. So it has opened browser, then it is entering the URL. So it will perform the actions very quickly. And it is searching with the keywords and it is going to click on the playlist as well. And also it is validated the title of the web page. And also here you can see the check mark and our test is getting passed, right? So in the line number 22, let's say for example, if I edit something or if I delete something over here. So now this time what happens? Actual value from the web page and the expected value. So these two values will be not matching and our test will get failed. And also we will check the report. So I will run the test once again. And if you look at here, so our test is getting failed in the line number 22. So this is the expected failure, right? Now let's go to the reports, and in the reports also, we should be able to see that this particular test results. And the status of this test should be failed with the comparing the both the values. And if you see here, so this is the expected string and this is the received string from the web page, right? So this is the expected output. So if I just modify the expected value over here and if I run the test, and this time our test will work fine, and also we can see the output in the Playwright test report. So if you see here, so our test is getting passed, right? So same should be reflected in the our test report as well. So if you see here, so our test is getting passed, there are 0 failures, right? And you can see all the steps also. So everything is getting passed. So this is how you can create the very first Playwright automation test by using the quick locator. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to install Playwright using command prompt. So you need to follow the very simple 2 steps, and then you will have the Playwright installed in your machine. The very first step is, so you need to enter the command called npm followed by init playwright @test, and after entering this particular command in a command prompt, and in the step 2 you need to select the playwright configurations, and then you will have to wait for some time and playwright will be installed in your machine. So let's do this in the command prompt now. So I will navigate to the one of the folder here. So I have created a one empty folder here, playwright tutorial full course 2. So I will go inside this and then I will open the command prompt, and here we have to type the npm followed by init, then playwright @latest. So that's it. So this particular command we are using to install the playwright in the system. So here we have to select the, so after entering this particular command, we have to select the playwright configurations. So here it is asking us whether you need the TypeScript or JavaScript. So in our case, we will select the JavaScript. And here again it is asking the second configuration. So where to put the end-to-end tests. So I will say tests only. And then you want to add the GitHub Actions workflow. So I will say false. I don't require right now. And then, so it is asking you want to install the Playwright browsers. So here it is a true. That means I want to install it. And it will start installing all the configurations and Playwright module as well. So it will take few seconds to install the Playwright. So right now it is downloading the browsers, and if you look at here, so here you see the success, and it has created a Playwright test project at this particular location. So let's navigate to the location. So if you see here, so Playwright we have installed in our system. So let's open this particular folder from the VS Code, and we will see whether we have installed the Playwright properly or not. So we will run the one simple example test from the Playwright framework. So I will go to the file and I will select open folder. So this is where we have installed the Playwright. So I will select the folder where we have installed the Playwright framework. So this will have the example test under the tests folder. So simply I will open the example.spec.js file and I will click on the run button. So if Playwright is installed properly in your system, so automatically it will start executing this particular test. So if you look at here, so our test is running perfectly fine, and also here you can see the check mark. So that means Playwright has installed all the things properly in your system. So this is how you can install the Playwright in your system by using the command prompt. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to run Playwright test in headless mode. And also we will see how to open the Playwright test report from the terminal and as well as the command prompt. So let's run the Playwright test from the terminal first, and later we will run the test from the command prompt. So here I will navigate to the VS Code, and here you need to click on the terminal, and you need to use the command called npx followed by playwright, and followed by that simply you need to type the test. That's it. So by default it will run all the tests which are present inside the tests folder. So I will hit the enter. Now this particular example.spec.js file has the two tests, and basically by default Playwright runs all your automation tests in the all three different browsers. One is Chromium, second one is Firefox, and third one is WebKit. Now it is running our automation test in the headless mode. So that's the reason you are not seeing any UI. So it will take couple of seconds and it will finishes the execution. If you look at here, so total six tests were there because right now we are having two tests, two into three browsers. So it will be total six tests, and all the six tests are getting passed over here, right? So this is the total time taken to execute the all the six tests. So we can open the Playwright test report by using the very simple command called npx followed by playwright and followed by show-report. So simply we have to enter this particular command. So here I'm executing the same command now. Automatically it opens up the HTML report. If you see here, the title is Playwright test report, and also here you can see. So we have executed only two tests, and those two tests are got executed on different browser. If you look at here, so firstly it has executed these two tests on the Chromium, and same tests are executed on the Firefox browser. And if you see here in the last section, so same two test cases are executed on the WebKit browser, right? And also you can see here all the test cases are passed here, and also here you can see the total count also in the passed section. And also here you can see that total time taken, and also based on the test also you can see that how long that particular test ran on Chromium or Firefox, and also you can compare the WebKit also. So on the WebKit, this particular test has title took the very less time, and then followed by that you can see that on Chromium it has took the 4.1, and on the Firefox it has took the almost 13 seconds. So this is how you can run the Playwright test from the terminal. Now we can go to the command prompt. Here also we can use the same command npx followed by playwright and followed by test. So this command will run your Playwright automation test in the headless mode. So if you look at here, so it is running 6 tests in a 3 browsers. So we have 2 tests and we have the 3 browsers. So it will take some time to execute the 2 test cases in all the 3 browsers. So let's wait for some time. So this is a test case. Now it is getting executed, has title, and then and the browser is Firefox right now, and also it will run our test on the WebKit browser as well finally. So we have observed our report also. So it is taking more time on the Firefox browser while executing the automation test. So command is very simple, guys. So simply you need to use npx followed by playwright and followed by test. So it will execute all the test cases or automation tests which are present inside the tests folder. So still execution is going on. So let's wait for some more time. So now if you see here, so at last our tests are running in the WebKit browser. And if you see here, so all the 6 tests are passing here, right? So let's open the report. Simply we have to use the same command npx followed by playwright and followed by show-report. Now we should be able to run the report properly, and also we should be able to see it. If you see here, and our report is open properly, and also you can see the total test count is 6 because we have 2 test cases and into 3 browsers. It will be 6 number. It will be 6 count. So firstly, it has executed on the Chromium browser and then Firefox browser, and finally it has executed Playwright test on the WebKit browser. So this is how you can run the Playwright test in headless mode, and also you can open the report from the terminal or command prompt. In the previous Playwright tutorial, I have discussed about how to run Playwright test in headless mode. In this Playwright tutorial, I am going to discuss about how to run Playwright test in UI mode from the command prompt. So you can use the same command in the terminal also. So that will also work fine. So you can use this particular command in the terminal, or you can use the same command in the command prompt also. So simply, so let me give you a brief idea like what we are going to do right now. So we have created this particular project. So we have installed a Playwright in the previous tutorials, and we are going to run the example.spec.js file. So it has two automation tests. One is has title, and second one is get started link. And whenever I execute a command, so these two automation tests will be getting executed on the three different browsers. One is Chromium, second one is Firefox, and third one is WebKit. So I'm going to the command prompt now. Now we will see how to execute Playwright test in the headed mode. So simply you need to enter npx followed by Playwright and followed by that test, and then you need to type 2 hyphen and then headed. So in the previous tutorial, we were running our automation test in the headless mode. So we were entering the command npx followed by Playwright and followed by test. That's it. So if you are adding hyphen hyphen headed, that means your automation test will run in the headed mode. So now this time you will be able to see the UI. So where exactly the tests will be running, and you will be able to see the what are the actions are performing in the web page by the automation test. So firstly, it is running the Chrome browser, Chromium automation test. And if you see here, so two tests got executed. So two tests are running parallelly. If you see this particular output over here, so it is using the two workers. So that's the reason every time it is triggering the two automation test. So Firefox execution is completed. Now it will execute the two tests in the WebKit browser also, right? So it is done. Now let's wait for the output now. And if you see here, the output also. So because of some reason, one test got failed in the Firefox and the rest of the 5 tests are getting passed. And also you can see the report got generated, and also it has opened automatically. And total we have the 6 tests, and 5 tests are getting passed and one is getting failed, right? Now let's re-trigger the execution. So here I'll press Control C. And this time our test should work fine. So I'm closing this particular report now. So it has started already executing the automation test on the Chromium, and then so it will start executing the Playwright test in the Firefox browser. So this is a Firefox browser test. Now our test ran on the WebKit browser. And if you see here, so we had a 6 test and all are getting passed. So let's run the report. So let's open the report by using the npx playwright show-report. So this time all the tests will be passed. If you see here, so all the tests are getting passed. There are 0 failures. And you can use the same command. By using this, you can run the Playwright automation test in the headed mode. So you can try to run same command in this particular terminal. And if you face any difficulties in doing it, you can comment in the comment section. So this is how you can run the Playwright test in the headed mode or a UI mode. In this Playwright tutorial, we will see how to run a specific Playwright spec file. So here I will navigate to the VS Code, and under the tests folder we have only one spec file. So simply I will copy this spec file and I will create the another spec file. So here I will rename this particular file with, so here I'll say demo dot spec dot js. So that's it. So I will keep only one test inside the demo dot spec dot js file, and I will rename the test name with demo 123. So that's it, guys. Right now we are having two spec files inside the tests folder, right? Now here I will go to the terminal. So you can go to the command prompt or terminal, that is fine. So you can use the same command. So now I will try to execute the only demo.spec.js file. So simply you need to write npx npx followed by playwright and followed by test and hyphen hyphen headed. So we want to run our test in the headed mode. So that's the reason I'm adding the hyphen hyphen headed. And here we have to specify the spec file name. So in our case, we want to run only demo.spec.js file. So that's it. So it will start running our test in the different browsers. So firstly, it has executed our test in the Chromium, and if you look at this particular output also, so all the tests are getting failed. So let's see what is the issue here. So if you see here, so it is not able to load the URL. So in my case, internet got disconnected. Sorry guys, in my case, internet got disconnected. That's the reason it is not able to load the URL. So let me reconnect the internet. So just give me a few seconds, guys. I will connect the internet back, and then our test will be working fine. So let me close all the report, and I will go back to the VS Code. Now here I'll press Ctrl C. That's it. So now I will execute same command once again. So npx followed by playwright test hyphen hyphen headed, and we have given the specific spec file name. So if you look at here, so firstly our test is ran on the Chromium and then Firefox browser. Then finally it is running on the WebKit browser. And here you can see the results also. So our three tests are running perfectly fine. And also we can open the report. So we had only one test inside the demo.spec file, and test name what we have given is demo123, and the same test is executed in different browsers. So that's the reason we are having the three tests. In the similar way, we can run the another file also. So let's try to run the example.spec.js file this time. So let me close the reporting part. So here I will give the spec file name example.spec.js. So I have given the npx followed by playwright test followed by hyphen hyphen headed, then followed by spec file name. So this is how you can execute the any playwright specific spec file. So now this time we have two test cases inside the example spec file. So that's the reason we will have the total 6 tests, and it will execute all the two test cases in the different 3 browsers. So execution is going on currently. And finally, it will execute the Playwright test in the WebKit browser also. So parallel execution is going on, if you see here, and all the 6 tests are running perfectly fine. And also you can open this particular report and you can verify it. So these commands can be used in the command prompt also. You can try it and let me know if you are having any issues. You can comment in the comment section. So this is how you can execute the Playwright specific spec file. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to discuss about how to run Playwright test on different browsers using the commands. So let's navigate to the VS Code now. So if you look at the tests folder, we have 2 spec file, and I will navigate to the testing. So under the tests folder, we have 2 spec file. Under the demo spec file, we have 1 test. Under the example spec file, we have 2 test cases. So right now we are having total 3 automation tests. So I will go back to the Explorer and I will open the terminal. You can use the terminal or you can use the command prompt also. So now let's try to execute all these 3 automation tests on the Chromium. You can try to execute on the different browsers. It can be Microsoft Edge browser or it can be Google Chrome browser also. And also you can try to execute on the Firefox WebKit browsers also. So right now I'm executing our automation test on the Chromium. So here I'm writing one command called npx playwright followed by that test. And here we have to specify hyphen hyphen project equal to Chromium. That's it, guys. So if I add Chromium, then it will run our automation test on the Chromium browser. And if I add WebKit, it will execute our automation test on the WebKit browsers. So firstly, it has opened. So because already parallel mode is on, so that's the reason it will trigger the multiple test cases at the same time. And if you see here output, so we had 3 automation tests and all are getting passed, right? So we have executed our test on the Chromium browser right now. And in the similar way, even we can open the report. So let's open the report and we will validate the browser name also on the report. Then we will come back and we will execute our automation test on the WebKit browser also. If you see here, so total automation test is 3 and all are getting passed. And here you can see the 2 spec file. Under demo spec file, we have 1 test and that is getting passed. Under example spec file, we have 2 tests and those are getting passed. And here you can see the which browser also, right? Now I will come back to the VS Code. So simply I will quit this reporting and I will close the Playwright test report. Now this time I will trigger our Playwright test on the WebKit browser. So I will remove Chromium and here I'll type WebKit. Now this time our test will run on the WebKit browser. So you can see that. So all the tests are getting executed. So all the tests are working fine. And let's view the report. So by using the command called npx playwright show hyphen report. So this will opens up the HTML Playwright test report. So firstly, you can see the project. So our tests are executed on the WebKit browser. And here you can see the 2 spec file and 3 automation tests. And also those are getting passed here. So this is how you can execute Playwright test on the different browsers. In this Playwright tutorial, we are going to see how to record Playwright automation test using codegen using the command prompt or terminal. So let's navigate to the VS Code now. So simply here we have to enter the one command called npx followed by playwright and followed by codegen. So here I have opened a fresh terminal. So here we have to use npx followed by playwright and codegen. So if I hit enter after entering this particular command, so this will opens up two windows. One is browser and second one is Playwright Inspector. So let's hit the enter. So let's wait for a few seconds. So you will get the, if you see here, so it has opened the Playwright Inspector and it has the sample test, and also it has opened the browser also. So let me give you an overview on manual scenario. Then we will record that manual scenario by using the Playwright automation tool. So firstly, we will navigate to the youtube.com and then we will search with API testing by tester stock. Then once we got the results, we are going to click on the playlist called API testing by tester stock. Then we will validate the title of the playlist. So here I will enter the first URL. Here I'll say youtube.com. And then in the search text box, we are going to enter API testing by tester stock. And then, so we have to click on the this particular search icon. So before we click on this particular search icon, we will verify whether this search icon is displayed or not. So by using the assert visibility. So simply I will select the that particular element after clicking on the assert visibility. And if I open the Playwright Inspector, so here you can see the code got generated. So firstly, it has navigated to the youtube.com. Then it is entering the search text box. And after that, it is going to verify the visibility of the search icon. Now I will come back here. So we have to click on the search icon. Let's click on the search icon. And once we got the results here, in the result page, we need to click on the API testing by tester stock playlist. So let's click on that particular playlist. And also we can validate the same code is generated or not in the Playwright Inspector also. Here you can see that line number 8 is generated for the action which we have done on the playlist. So that's it, guys. Once we navigated to the playlist, so here we are verifying the title of this particular playlist. So I will verify it by using the assert text. So first you need to click on the assert text and followed by the element. That's it, guys. So if I go to the Playwright Inspector, and here you can see that all the code got generated over here, right? So simply I will copy this particular test and I will go back to the our VS Code. So under the tests folder, so I'm creating a one spec file. So here I'll say record and playtest dot spec dot js, and I will paste the code whatever I have copied it from the Playwright Inspector. So here what I'm doing is, before we enter anything in the search text box, right, in the line number 5, so simply I'm taking this particular locator, and before we enter anything in the search text box, so we want to click on that particular search text box. So that's it, guys. And after that what I'm doing is, so here I see that in the line number 10 some dummy code got generated. That's the line number 10. Simply I will delete this. And what I will do is, in the line number 10, so I'm putting some manual wait so that we can see the execution properly. So that's the reason here I'm using page dot, sorry, await followed by page dot wait for timeout. So here we have to pass the milliseconds. So here I'm passing 5000 milliseconds. That is nothing but the 5 seconds. That's it, guys. And also I will rename the test name as record and playtest. And I will close the browser which has opened by the codegen. And if I close the browser, and automatically Playwright Inspector will be also closed. So now the test is ready and let's run the test. So it should open the youtube.com, then it should search with API testing by tester stock, and it should navigate to the playlist, and it has to verify the text of the playlist. So it is taking a bit of time. I think it is got failed. So let's see what is the reason behind this. So it is failing in the line number 9, right? So we'll come back here and let's see the code a little bit. So in the line number 5 and 6, we are entering the search text box. Then we are going to click on the search icon in the line number 7 and 8. And after that, we are going to get the playlist, and we need to click on that particular playlist. And at the end, we are verifying the text of the playlist. That's it, guys. So what I will do is, so simply I will put the sum weight after going to the youtube.com. So simply I will copy the line number 10 and I'll paste it here. Then I will rerun this particular playwright test. So let's see this time. It should work fine. So it has opened the browser now. So sometimes if my internet is slow, because of that also it might get fail. So that could be the one of the reason. So again, it is coming here and it is getting failed. So let me verify it once again what we are doing. So let me put another wait after the line number 7, because YouTube is a heavy loaded application. That's the reason it might be taking little bit of time. So that's the reason I want to put a little bit of wait so that our test will run perfectly fine. So I'm rerunning the test once again. So if you see here, it is loading very slowly, youtube.com. And it has clicked on the search icon and it got the results. And also it is clicking on the playlist and it should verify the text also. So let me check like what is the issue here. So it is saying that test is finished because our test should get execute within the 30 seconds. So that's the reason. So this configuration is done in the Playwright configuration. So now let's rerun the test, because this time everything is working fine. And let me remove a little bit of, so let me close this run and I will put the less weight here. I will say 3000. That means 3 seconds. So I will put 2000 here. So now let's rerun the test now. So because YouTube is heavy loaded application and it needs a little bit of faster internet. So that is the main reason behind the failures. Now it should search with the search keywords and it should navigate to the results and playlist, and it should verify the title of the playlist, right? And if you see here, our test is getting passed, right? So I didn't do much modifications here, and also here you can see that our test is getting passed. So this is how you can use the codegen for recording the playwright test.